The number one question I get from people that isn't directly related to model railroading is, how are you doing this and having success on YouTube? I try to answer questions as much as I can, but I thought a general video on my philosophy on YouTube and my general feelings when dealing with companies, plus some things that I've learned along the way that can help you if you're looking to grow a model railroad YouTube channel specific to model railroading. And I thought that this was warranted because a rising tide raises all boats. So let's get to it.
This video is brought to you by Model Railroad Academy. Model Railroad Academy is your online resource for model railroad instructions, ideas, and information, with loads of tutorials and articles for model railroaders of every skill level. I've recently been going through their catalog and watching some of their older videos, including this one from Don Kassler and the M&K division of the B&O. It's been really cool to watch and see all the old techniques he used. Plus, you can find tutorials on everything from bench work to electronics to scenery, all sorts of things there. Go to the link in the description and you can get your first full year for just $1.49. That is for new members only.
Now, before we begin, just so you know, I may appear to have a bigger following in model railroading than a lot of people, but there's still quite a few channels that are larger than mine. And I'm still classified as a micro creator in the grand scheme of things, which means under 100,000 subscribers. And there's 3 levels of that, by the way. There's nano creator, which is under 10,000 subscribers, micro creator, which is between 10,000 and 100,000 subscribers, and macro creator, which is between 100,000 subscribers and 1 million subscribers. Above that, you're really looking at a different class of creator altogether. There's a couple of things you need right at the start of a YouTube channel that are going to guide you as you grow. And don't worry, if you've already started, you can just add these in too. The number one thing is a mission statement. This will guide your videos. This isn't something you need to publish, but I'll go ahead and tell you mine. The DIY and Digital Railroad is a kind, family-friendly place that strives to inform, educate, and entertain current, past, and potential model railroaders without judgment or condescension. The channel promotes model railroading as a wholesome, fun hobby to share with all by framing all content through the phrase, be kind and play with trains. A mission statement needs to be the guiding force behind the content you make and the tone it takes. The other thing that you need is a realistic measure of success. That could be subscribers, views, a growing email list, whatever. But just keep it realistic. You're not going to immediately shoot to 1 million subscribers, especially doing a model railroad YouTube channel. We're really kind of a niche over here. So success is not the same for everyone as well with that. But I will caution you that if your primary goal is just to make money on YouTube, I would choose a different niche to make videos in. There are way more lucrative niches than this, a lot more. You gotta love model railroading to do this on YouTube. And I think most other model railroad YouTubers will tell you the same thing. I'm not gonna say it's impossible to make good money on YouTube with trains, but it shouldn't be your goal and your primary goal because you're not gonna be happy. My goal is growth because I firmly believe that model railroading is a super hobby that can teach a lot more than trains, and I want to help the hobby grow because I love it. Okay, let's talk about audience. There's a certain way you should view an audience for your videos. The best advice I have heard is what gets you to 10,000 subscribers is not what will get you to 100,000 subscribers. What this means is that your audience expands as you grow to include different interests and different levels of interest. I like the idea of a set of rings that are all larger than each other and are all sitting on top of each other. Each of these rings represents an audience's level of interest. They go from very casual to very intense. When you begin, you'll most likely catch on in the innermost circle, which is the very intense level, where people are very interested in model railroading. Think of it as a niche within a niche. As you grow, you're going to start encompassing more rings that have people that have a more casual interest in model railroading, and some of the things that the people in the smaller rings are interested in will not be of interest to people in the larger rings. I've actually been through this. When I started, I did a lot of Arduino tutorials. These were big hits for me when I first started, but as I grew, the Arduino videos would hit a certain point and kind of plateau in views. This was the beginning of my first shift in my content. I had maxed out the niche within a niche. For the record, this was at about, I hit 10,000 subscribers, so that's about the point that I hit right there. This shift was more about applying what I created in the videos on building a layout, plus I was actually building a new layout at this point. I did more scenery tutorials and a few buildings, and I had Arduinos mixed in there, but they were less prevalent than before. I built MRR1 during this phase, as well as my previous layout. This lasted me until about 40,000 subscribers, and I really hit the edge of that ring of interest and started going into more casual viewers. And this is the point where I decided to start integrating some reviews of locomotive and rolling stock. In addition to this, I also began building my T-track layout in this phase. This involved a lot of different moving parts, and my channel was slowly transforming into something different. It was becoming more well-rounded. The Arduino videos are still there, and I don't think I'm ever going to stop doing those. I've got one planned right now that people have asked for. But as I grew, my viewers began to tilt more towards the beginner and intermediate levels, the ones that were coming in those wider out rings. So while I could do niche tutorials, I needed to serve those beginners and intermediate modelers that I want to get to an expert level as well. I started Coffee and Trains, the virtual model railroad show, and the Q&A in this phase. And it has been a phase of big growth. But I'm starting to see a plateau in this phase, so I've begun testing new ways of doing things and trying a few new types of videos. I have some new video series in the works that I think will be a lot of fun. We'll see what happens when I find something that hooks in well with that next ring of the model railroad audience. To sum things up, different video topics will get the attention of different groups. Think about this. As you grow, always be trying new things because you never know what's going to be a hit. My #1 video is Model Railroad Track Planning for Beginners. I never expected that video to take off the way it did. Okay, let's get a little bit technical here. The biggest thing I see most people needing work on is titles and thumbnails. The most common mistake I see, and I made this one too when I started, and it took me a while to fix it, is that I was not creating intrigue with my title and thumbnail. That is the way most viewers decide to watch your content. So, for example, rather than having a title that is like, Building My Model Railroad Part 4, Adding a Mountain, you could say something like, I made this mountain out of a cardboard box, and put a picture of a cardboard webbing split screen with the finished mountain, and you could have text on the thumbnail with arrows showing before and after. This creates another level of just that interest that someone's going to be looking at to do this. Now, this is just a random example, but this is the #1 thing I see when people are not growing, is that their titles and thumbnails are not making me want to click. Would some call this clickbait? Well, yes, but clickbait is not a terrible thing as long as you deliver on that promise meaningfully. Also, this is just part of YouTube. It's their playing field and you have to play by their rules. Now, when it comes to your videos, a lot of people, myself included, love a spectacular intro. I like making them because they're fun to make and they let me be creative, but a long intro can be a big killer of audience retention. My intros have gotten shorter and shorter, and I'm still trying to figure out how I can shorten them even more or eliminate them altogether. This is a tough one because you have to accept the fact that people do not care as much about your work as you do. Once you change your mindset to making something for a viewer and not yourself, you can start to really take off. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, you do not need a fancy camera to do YouTube. Nearly every phone will shoot high quality enough for YouTube. The latest iPhone Pro has many professional features that literally only professional features use, like Genlock. If you know what Genlock is, put it in the comments because it's truly a pro feature that 99% of people aren't going to use. And I thought it was funny when they were putting it in their marketing material as a feature. You just need a tripod, a decent mic, and a good shot. There are so many videos out there that are hard to watch because they are so shaky and the shots are not communicating what is being referenced. Tripod, decent mic, and focus on what you're talking about. The separate mic is kind of optional, honestly, so long as you can hear yourself clearly. There's plenty of good videos out there that people just use the on-camera mics. I would recommend it though. It does just make everything a little bit clearer. There's nothing that can kill a video faster than bad audio, so doing what you can to make your audio better is one of those little things that's going to bring you up a notch. One more thing on shots, because I understand that a lot of people out there are not classically trained like what I went through with my schooling and things like that. And this is how you should do your camera work. There is a basic rule in videography that will help you in editing. It's called wide, medium, tight. This means every shot you take, do a wide shot, a medium shot, which is a kind of a middle distance shot, and a tight shot, which is a close-up. Do this and you will have a lot more to work with when you're editing. You don't have to do this for everything, but it will help a ton. Also, if you can, shoot in 4K if that's not going to crash your system. I shoot in 4K and my videos are 1080. It lets me zoom in on the shot and not lose resolution. This is super important for shooting models. I will also tell you that if you show your face on camera, you will have better chance of success. Humans connect with other humans. The last thing I want to talk about is working with companies. I talk to both creators and companies in model railroading, and I have two real takeaways from that. One is that pretty much every model railroad company is a small company. There are no corporate giants in model railroading. They're people just like you and me. And with social media becoming the dominant form of marketing and its access level being significantly lower, a lot of people have been asked to wear a lot of hats at companies. You will talk to companies that do not have a marketing plan or strategy, or they may have used older forms of media that are no longer relevant or cost effective. Let's be clear. Marketing is tough for professionals, so imagine if you're asked to do this on top of your regular duties. This is where the second takeaway comes in. I talk with a lot of creators, and most of them are super nice and fun. But most, just like the companies, are wearing a bunch of hats and don't know how to be an effective marketing partner. Some even have this sense of entitlement, like a company should send you a product and you'll give them whatever you make them. This is absolutely the wrong way to go about this. Marketing is like any other business relationship. It is a partnership. It is not unreasonable for a company to ask what your plan for a product is. Let's say you're a cottage 3D printing business that is part-time out of a guy's garage. Wouldn't you want to know what an influencer is going to do with your product? You're not making a bunch of money on this. It's probably a side hustle, and one bad video could tank your entire business. It's perfectly reasonable to ask for a plan from an influencer. And if you're an influencer being asked for that, there are two simple things that you can do that will make a world of difference. One is use your videos across multiple platforms like YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, if you have those platforms. Facebook is another one. And the other is creating trackable links. These two simple things are more than what 90% of influencers will do for companies. A free way to make trackable links is snapped.io. I'll link that in the description. Now, don't let this relationship compromise your integrity. If I have a product that is bad, I'll either work with the company to figure out the problem under the condition that I will talk about it, or I won't review it at all. And I've only had this happen once. Just remember that a rising tide raises all boats. Now, if it's something is shady and you don't feel right about doing this, just remember to be human about it. There is one more thing that I want to talk about, and that is dealing with negative comments. There's two main types of negative comments. Of the negative comments that I receive, most are constructive and polite. These comments are totally fine. I actually welcome these comments. They help me learn because I do not know everything, and they come from a place of trying to be helpful. I do not have a problem with constructive criticism. Quite the opposite, actually. It's the personal ones, the trolls and the hateful comments that I do have a problem with. But my solution is actually elegantly simple. I ignore them. They want to get attention. They want to get a rise out of you. They disappear when you ignore them. Trust me, they do. If it really bothers you, delete their comment and block them. They can think what they want. Screw them. I say all of this to say that you do not need to be the best, but do your best. You do not need to be number one. All you have to do is make something that connects with people and you will have success. And this connection looks different for everyone. It is also the most important part of YouTube. The viewer is everything. Serve them well and you will be successful. because it is not about you. It is about them. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this video was helpful. Until next time, I'm Jimmy from the DIY and Digital. Stay safe, be kind, and happy railroading.